Redemption Mamas. I am founder and creator of the Redemption Mamas project, which is dear to my heart. I've been mentoring women now for 20 years or so. Sounds scary that I can say it's been that long, but what a privilege, what a pleasure that I've been able to help battle-weary women like myself, got pretty tired in the battle of life, heal deep wounds, reclaim their personal power and unlock God-given destiny through spirit-led and intuitive heart healing. And that's the journey that I started in my earlier days, in my 40s, when life just got a little unraveled, a lot unraveled actually. There was a lot of things at stake. My marriage, my motherhood, everything. I'm a mother of five children, which are now adults. I'm pretty independent myself these days, which is cool. And so over the years, as I've been exploring my own life and the struggles and the pain and the disappointments and the frustrations, which just continued to unravel for a few maybe a decade. In my 30s, life was pretty hard, emotionally, spiritually, in a lot of ways. And it wasn't until my 40s that I had the opportunity to connect and reach out to see that some people were doing life a little bit differently. And it was very different. You know, I'd tried the psychologist, I've tried the therapy, I've tried the counseling. And while it gave me help and it supported me, it just didn't give me the freedom that I was really hungry for. I didn't want to live with, ruminating thoughts in my head. I didn't want to be living, rehashing the past and regretting and just being disappointed and, expectations not being met. It was a really difficult time for me. And it wasn't until I met a friend who had also had a similar journey. She had 6 children herself, marriage struggles and issues in her life. And when I reconnected with her, she was just a really different woman. She had a light and a life, a joy to her that I'd not seen in the past. And so I asked her, what have you been doing? What have you been up to? And she shared a bit about her journey. And I dived in and went and met with some people that she'd been meeting with, and then the doors opened for me to journey with a couple of other mentors, and then with my mentor that currently is just a beautiful support and help for me and has been for many years now. I'm very, very blessed and grateful. So what is heart healing? What does it mean? And this is the question that I often get asked. And to be honest, it's not an easy question to answer, but what I've been processing over this last little hiatus, that I've had a bit of a break away from the public side of what I do, the online and social media side. I've still been mentoring women who have been journeying with me, but not, putting it out there in the public domain. But I feel very called to step back into that again, and very grateful that life has sort of settled a little bit and I can step into it. But in some ways it hasn't settled, but I'm so much more aware of my heart's needs. And that's what I want to talk a little bit about today. So the heart healing journey has been one where I've had to be willing to really look inside of me, look inside of my heart, look inside of what's going on for my heart. And as a mother, as a wife, as a sister, all of the relationships, as a friend, it hasn't always been putting myself or prioritizing, that's what I want to say, prioritizing myself in that area. I have been a people pleaser. I have endeavored to try and keep everyone happy. And while that seems to maybe work for a while, it's just not sustainable. And the person who becomes the most unhappy is me, because I'm not paying any attention to things that I need to pay attention to in my heart and in my life. So I'm just going to share with you a little bit of a journey that I've been on, the heart healing journey. The heart healing journey is a journey where You learn to stop, and you learn to listen, and you learn to hear what your heart is telling you. Did you know your heart has a voice? It has ears, it has eyes, it has everything. It's like the most important organ in your body. And out of your heart flow the issues of life. The grief you feel, the joy you feel, the disappointment you feel, the anger you feel, all of that, it comes from the heart. The heart is a dynamic organ, which is much more than physical. But of course, if we had an issue and we were concerned about the state of our heart, we would pay careful attention to it, right? And this is what we're told in the Word of God. Pay careful attention to your heart as you listen to my teaching. Because if you have an open heart, even more revelation will be given to you until it overflows. So, what are we talking about here? What does our heart reveal? There's something that having an openness in our heart, towards our heart, that's going to bring revelation. And it made me ponder how when something isn't right, if you are paying attention to your heart and your heart isn't beating right, or it's, got that irregular heartbeat, or it's feeling strained or pained in some way, we go to the doctor. We go to the physical doctor because we think he's going to be able to hear something that maybe we can't hear. But you're already hearing it. Your heart is already telling you something is not right. But he gets out his stethoscope and he listens to your pulse. He checks the pulse on your arm or neck or wherever, he's feeling for what might be happening in your heart. Then you get your blood pressure taken and you find out there might be something wrong. It's high, it's low, it's not pumping the blood around your body in a way that's actually going to keep you healthy and strong. These are the things that a physical checkup of your heart will reveal to you. And if you are open to that and are willing to find out about that, then of course you will have revealed to you what you need to do to bring yourself into better heart health. Am I right? Is that what you do? Would you go to the doctor if you are having some heart palpitations or some breathlessness, because that's an indicator that your heart's not pumping the blood around your body to give you the oxygen you need? All of the physical attributes that we would pay attention to if we were having issues that made us unwell, we would go to the doctor, and the first place he would check is what's happening in our heart, our pulse rate, our blood pressure. They know, the medical know, that out of the issues of life, all of our issues of life, stem from the heart. And the heart can reveal remarkable things. In the same way, if you pay careful attention and listen to your heart, what your heart is telling you emotionally and spiritually, if you open your heart up to that, you too will have even greater revelation about what is going on inside of you, and it will be given to you until it overflows. This process now has become like, I guess, second nature to me, and I daily check in with my heart. The first thing we do when we have a physical heart issue is we stop, right? We stop and we book a doctor's appointment. We stop and we pay attention to what it's telling us. If we don't, then that's going to be a pretty disastrous outcome for us, potentially. So the same thing with our emotions and our spiritual well-being. We need to learn to listen to our heart. And so that requires a, stop and rest. Stop and listen. Stop and pay attention to what your heart might be telling you. Now, I didn't do this, and it wasn't modeled to me because, the generation of my mother was very much, you just staunchly push through, and you don't you don't pay attention to any of that stuff. And for her, it was a struggle when I would want to talk about that with her, because that was not an area she felt very comfortable with. And so I learned that that was maybe not a very safe thing to do. And I didn't pay attention to it, but it started to cry out so loudly to me that I could no longer ignore it. Just as a bit of a story, or a bit of an, indicator of how it's been benefiting me over the years. Just very recently, in fact, maybe only less than a month ago, we had such a difficult time in many ways. We had to move again for the third time in just over a year. That was just one of a number of things that were really pressing in quite hard and heavy on our hearts, my husband and I, and me. And what I found in the past was that going into nature was great therapy for me. And so my husband said, let's go to this dam nearby, let's go for a walk, and let's just detach for a bit and see how you go. Well, to my really shock and horror in many ways, it did not shift any ounce of how I was feeling. And that actually woke me up, because for me, that would normally be a very therapeutic thing. It would refresh me, it would revive me, it would restore me, it would just recalibrate me. But as I was driving back, I thought, I've got a problem. I actually have to listen to something that's going on here, which is in my heart. There's something here that is not even letting me feel the very emotions that I would normally feel in this situation. The emotions of, that refreshing and that insight and encouragement, and just bring me back to a more even keel and a better balance, grounding me. So I reached out to my mentor and I asked her, because I had tried to process this myself. And for me now, if it takes too many days, I'm like, nah, I need help. So I don't want it to go on and on and on to a point that it might actually be horribly debilitating for me. So I decided to open my heart and see what it would reveal, because an open heart reveals. It shows you things. So together, as we spent time, and in that heart encounter journey, we ask questions. We ask questions and we let our heart do the answering and the listening. We let our heart reveal to us what we need to know, what we need to understand, what we need to see. An open heart always reveals. Always reveals. What I realized is not only was I not feeling emotionally, but I'd started to lose some of my other senses. I realized, man, I haven't had the strongest sense of taste of late. In fact, something was burning and I didn't even realize it until I came back in the kitchen and saw it. My sense of smell and my sense of taste and my emotional senses had really started to shut down. Now, in our time as I, was getting this insight and this revelation, I realized this was actually what had happened to my mother. From the time she was around her 70s, she had lost her sense of taste. She had lost her sense of smell. And she would joke, I just know what I'm eating by the texture. I don't actually get to taste and I don't get to smell it, which robbed her of a bit of joy, I think, of eating, because when you don't taste it and you don't smell it, it's just food. So on this revelation, as it was coming through, as we were processing and asking my heart, to reveal what we needed to know, I came to, I guess, an awakening. Like, I don't want to be missing out on taste and smell and emotional sensitivity in my latter years. I don't want this to happen to me. And so we started to ask for insight, ask for revelation as to what it was that had caused that to happen for my mother. And then, of course, now it was a generational thing, it was coming on to me. So we did. And one of the things that I guess was revealed to my heart in this moment was that for my mum, she had really chosen to suppress her feelings, to suppress her emotions, particularly because there was no process, there was no strategy taught to her about how to unpack some of that emotional baggage. They were the staunch, just keep pushing through, and don't investigate anything, just get on with it. And so that's what my mother did. But for me, I came to not really be wanting to accept that I might lose my sense of smell completely and my sense of taste. And the other thing that had been happening was that I was getting very clumsy. And I noticed that I would reach out, to grab something and kind of misjudge it. Didn't seem to be feeling the connection with my fingertips like I should have been. And I love these glasses, the vacuum seal. I think they're quite sweet. However, they're very fragile, and I have broken 3 out of 4 of them up to this point because of this not sensing. The fingertips were not sensing when I'd connected with it, and I was pushing them off tables or dropping them, and they were breaking. So it was enough for me to see that my sense of smell, touch, and taste was being compromised, but also my emotional senses of feeling joy. And what I've learned in my heart journey is that whatever your baseline is of feeling, if it's feeling anything, the very baseline of that ends up being the very top line that any of your emotions can truly be expressed. We can't choose to feel joy but not feel hate, to feel love but not feel fear. We actually have a baseline that all of our emotions settle to. Brené Brown speaks really amazingly into this on the research that she's done. And so we can't choose to have more joy and less hate. We actually work from a baseline. And I had seen that my baseline was diminishing. And so I decided that it was time to reach out and really investigate what my heart was revealing to me. So what I had experienced was this, that where my heart may not have been open at that point, the little that I had was being taken away. The little that I had was diminishing. The smell was getting less. The sense of touch was getting worse. I was breaking too many glasses. And so I'd not been listening with an open heart in this emotional arena, which was totally understandable. Life was pretty intense and pretty crappy, and to not be listening was probably because I was not taking time to pay attention, to listen with an open heart to my emotional state. I was just falling back on the fallback, the default position of just push through, get on with it, don't think about it. And yet what it was doing was taking away even the little that I had. This to me is such an incredible insight through the Bible that reflects exactly how the heart healing journey works. That when we open our hearts, more is given. But when we close our hearts and we don't listen with an open heart, even what we have gets taken away. So I was losing my emotional senses. I was losing my physical sense of touch. I was losing my sense of taste and smell. And so that was enough for me to really start paying attention to what was my heart saying. Just like I would go to the doctor if my heart wasn't beating regularly, or there was indications there was a blockage, or there was indications that I was not getting the oxygen I needed to breathe. We would take action and do something about it. The first thing we do is rest and stop. And so that's what I had made a decision to do, to rest and stop. And as we investigated some of these heart issues that were springing up for me in that moment in the last month or so, and as we investigated maybe where that might have come from and how that was impacting me today, I was able to really break that attachment and break those choices and break those decisions and change what I had decided about myself. I am pretty happy to say I am enjoying food. I am tasting and I am smelling. When I get that sense of smell now, it's like a real joy for me, because I'm like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Life needs to have the full senses just permeating through us to really enjoy and to benefit from just all that life can bring. And when we're living compromised, or we're living, wonky and leaning because we're trying to make ourselves function when we're not functioning, we don't only just not function, but we lose what we have. And so paying attention to the heart issues, the things that are springing from our heart, that's what heart healing is all about. And very often it has its own pathway that unravels things that maybe we haven't even been aware of. Maybe they are generational. Maybe they are suppressed. And so I fell out of agreement with suppressing my emotions, with agreeing with that process. And in that, my senses began to flourish, which I'm so happy about. So heart healing is learning to listen to your heart. It's learning to listen to what your heart is telling you. Physically, we do it. We go to the doctor. We ask him to show us and help us and give us the insight we need to what is going on inside of my body. When we listen to our heart, we are just going to be incredibly blessed, healed, free, whole, fulfilled. So many things that listening to your heart will produce if you make that choice. Well, that's my little bit for today. I am Miriam Smout. Redemption Mamas is the group that I have been running, and I mentor women in the heart healing journey. So if that is of interest to you, then jump in and join the Facebook group. I'm going to get more present. Christmas is not busy for me, actually, but I am going to get back on to putting all my things back up and getting organised with that. I'm excited about that process, and I'm excited for you, because I know this heart healing journey, once you make the choice to step into it, is phenomenally beautiful, freeing, releasing, and just gives you a whole new lease on life that, for me, I wish I'd started 20 years before I did. But anyway, that's another story. So next year I'm going to be running my workshops again about this time on a Friday morning or Thursday evening if you're in the US, and I'll start putting up a bit of information about that. And I'm starting next year what I'll call the mentoring project, because some women have been asking me to teach them what I've learned. And honestly, I've learned as much from you as I've learned from anywhere. And so we're going to start a journey together called the Mentoring Project, which is going to enable women who want to step into helping others and getting some skills and tools in mentoring and reaching into others' lives. Because, if we do this one woman at a time, it's going to take way too long. But we can do this in community. We can do it in connection. We can do it in a group where we have support and encouragement around us. And I also want to take that group through stages or phases that will be very much up to each individual to progress through at their own rate. And the final phase will be, teaching you how to bring it online, how to bring it into a space where we can reach women all around the world. We don't just have to be face to face. And I've found the online mentoring, it stretched me at first because I had to really engage some other processes and tools to be able to do it. But now doing things online is just so exciting, speaking and working with women in the US, South Africa, haven't launched into the UK yet. The time zone's a bit challenging from Australia to UK. But yeah, there's just been so much beauty and joy come into my life as I've been able to do this. So you take care, you be blessed. Look out next year in the Redemption Mamas Facebook group. I'll be more present there. And my YouTube channel is still operational, but all the links are broken at the moment because I'm just reorganizing those links with another company. And my website I've seen is completely down. So got a little bit of reconstructing to do over the next month or so as well. So that's going to be my part, my piece. And then I'll be back up and fully operational again. So take care, be blessed, have a very Merry Christmas. I will probably speak to you after Christmas. Love you lots.